This video focuses on functions. Specifically, we're going to learn how to determine if mappings represent a function or not. First, we need to start with the definition of a function. A function is any relationship between two variables where each input, each x value, is assigned exactly one output or exactly one y value. If any of the inputs or any of the x values produce more than one output, then at that point we know the relationship cannot be a function. Functions, they're about certainty. If we know the input and we know the function rule, then we can predict the value of the output with 100% certainty. You'll work with functions a lot in high school. That's why we're focused on how can we understand the definition. Mappings, we've learned this week, are one new way to display data about the relationship between two variables. We can picture the mapping as something of a visual table. It has the input and output, or the x and y values, in two columns, but they use arrows to connect them. We can quickly tell if any input or x value produces more than one output by seeing how many maps each of the x values have. For functions, all of the input values should map to only a single output value. If the relationship is not a function, then we would see some of the input values or some of the x's that map to multiple output values. Let's take a look at an example. Pause the video and try to answer this question. Which relationship, A, B, or C, is a function? Welcome back. If we remember our test to look at how many maps each of these functions has from each input, we'd see for A that the first input, or 5, maps to two different outputs. It maps to 8 and it maps to 9. That tells us this x value of 5, or this input of 5, has two possible outputs, an 8 or 9. At that point, we know relationship A is not a function because the input 5 has two different outputs. If we look at relationship B, we see every input, 2, 6, 9, and -1, has exactly one output. So it is a function. Each input has only one output. Now, we'll notice the 9 and the 2, both connected to the 3, they had the same value for an output, but it's still a function because each of those inputs took only one output. The last one, relationship C, we see cannot be a function because even though -1 has only one output and +1 has only one output, the 0 as an input has two possible outputs.